On this edition of Quincy in Focus, a gathering in Quincy Center to support the Black Lives Matter movement. We see submissions to the Quincy COVID Memories Project. Seniors of Quincy and North Quincy High School receive a unique send-off. These stories and more coming up on Quincy in Focus.
Hello, and welcome to Quincy in Focus. My name's Mandy Flaherty, and I'm a member of the staff here at QATV. Leading off this edition, representatives from the City of Quincy and residents alike gathered in Quincy Center for a rally to show solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement.
We're pleased to be here with you tonight, but we're sad that we have to be here. All of us are sad that in the year 2020, we need to hold up signs that say Black Lives Matter. It is a sad state of affairs in America when we need to do that. We all stand in solidarity tonight to say that Black Lives Matter, that violence against somebody based on the color of their skin is wrong, and we will not accept it in any community. A violation of your civil rights is a violation of my civil rights. And no life is worth any less than another life based on the color of your skin.
Let's acknowledge the names of people who were killed as a result of racist violence, and remember that these are a few of the many. Please say his or her name in unison when asked. We will call and respond 3 times for each person. George Floyd had been living in Minneapolis for several years after moving there from his native Houston. He had recently been working as a bouncer in the city, but like millions of other Americans, especially people of color, he was left jobless by the coronavirus pandemic. His name is George Floyd. Say his name. George Floyd. Say his name. George Floyd. Say his name. George Floyd. Ahmaud Arbery's cousin said he was liked by everyone he met. He was a beautiful soul. He wasn't a hateful person. He was not. I can't name one person he had a beef with growing up. Everybody loved Ahmaud because he was just a clown, a funny guy. His name is Ahmaud Arbery. Say his name. Ahmaud Arbery. Say his name. Ahmaud Arbery. Say his name. Ahmaud Arbery. Breonna Taylor, 26 years old, was an ER technician who previously worked as a certified EMT and aspired to further her career in healthcare. Breonna was a young woman who adored her family above all else and who made plans to become a nurse, buy a house, and then start a family. Breonna's mom said Breonna had her head on straight. She was a very decent person. She didn't deserve this. Her name is Breonna Taylor. Say her name. Breonna Taylor. Say her name. Breonna Taylor. Say her name. Breonna Taylor. David McAtee was killed by police in a protest in Louisville, Kentucky. He was the owner of a barbecue restaurant in Western Louisville and was known as a community pillar. People knew the chef as someone who would cook at several community events, donating his time and his food. He was a legend. He was a good person. His name is David McAtee. Say his name. David McAtee. Say his name. David McAtee. Say his name. David McAtee. Terrence Coleman was a 31-year-old black man living in Boston who suffered from mental illness. His mother called for an ambulance on the advice of a doctor, and police who were not trained to handle the situation responded to the call. Terrence was a quiet name. Terrence was a quiet man. His name is Terrence Coleman. Say his name. Terrence Coleman. Say his name. Terrence Coleman. Say his name. Terrence Coleman. Usama Rahim was a 26-year-old black man who worked for CVS as an undercover store detective. His mother says, "My son was not a terrorist," but that label stuck on him and separated his death from the community so that nobody would stand with me, says his mother. He was a hard-working young man. He was a kind young man. His name is Usama Rahim. Say his name. Usama Rahim. Say his name. Usama Rahim. Say his name. Usama Rahim.
No justice! No peace! 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 No peace! No peace! I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
The Thomas Crane Library has partnered with Professor Del Case to talk in depth about subjects such as music structure, origins of rock, and musical theory. The weekly guided listening series can be seen right here on QATV.
Right. So what we heard was, again, that hook's not in the original. No, it's the hook that's added to get the kids to dance. But it's interesting is that it's still bluesy. It's got that call and response that's so important in the blues between this voice and the guitar. And we hear, and shake, shake it, baby. Now that, of course, was done in rock and roll 10 years before. It's a hugely important part of post-war small group R&B that really was the kind of our rhythm and blues that turned into rock and roll in the early and mid-50s. I'd like to listen to Satisfaction. I'd like you to try to hear this as essentially you take that hook, that original hook that the Animals added, and you basically expand it out. So Satisfaction is not a blues. Doesn't follow the 12-bar blues format. It doesn't really have the same kind of lyrics. Like, I mean, if you look at the lyrics carefully, it's about, it's Marxist. It's about society telling you that you always need more than you have. It's a perceived need. I mean, look, Jagger went to the London School of Economics. He knows this stuff, right? But basically, it's not really about sexual satisfaction, but let's be very clear. It is, right? Okay? But at the end of the day, you need to think about this entire song as the blues sort of squeezed through a pop music filter. So in a lot of ways, this has all the musical elements of the blues, but in an original, unique form. This is not a ripoff of the blues. This is not a bad version. This song is not a bad version of the blues. Now, the Stones did that, okay? And a lot of the other, the Animals did it. But this is a song that's something new. And that's why this is rock music. Now, I'm sorry to stop that because this is a great song, but you only got me for a little more time, whereas you got the Stones forever, okay? So now this is probably the greatest rock song of all time. It's got everything, right? It's incredibly catchy. It's simple. It is direct. There's an authenticity to it. It's got a unique sound. It's got an absolute sort of, there's a danger to it. There's an aggressiveness to it, but there's also sort of this cheeky irony, like we're all in on the joke. It's just the best of what rock music can be. So I'm just doing that because I want everyone to this is a pretty placid performance by Little Richard. I'm going to stop this share for a sec. You guys can see me. And so what we heard there is sort of everything that made rock and roll new, and while also hearing so many of the things that rock and roll inherited.
I just want to satisfy your balls. Oh!
So I'm going to stop that right there. And that was 16 bars, or at least, if not more, and 43 seconds, and there was one chord. One chord. Now, you could argue and say there's a few more, but frankly, the guitarist is playing one chord, and it's all within the same scale. And so all that means is that it just goes to show you, now that's a great song. Now, it's a great song despite the fact that there's one chord for almost a minute of music. That should go to show you that you don't need a variety of chords in order for a song to be great. Now, Mozart could not get away with that. Not because Mozart wasn't great, but because Mozart was writing in a style of music that was based upon fundamentally harmony.
With COVID-19, many of us have had to try to find ways to work, celebrate, and communicate from home. Here at QATV, we've compiled some of those ways in a project called Quincy COVID Memories, with clips sent in from QATV staff and viewers.
Happy birthday, kiddo!
Thank you.
Nice job!
Hi everyone! Since junior prom was canceled, my family decided to have our own. We dressed up, took a couple pictures, did some spins, and we danced. It was my dad and my grandmother's very first prom. We even got to call our significant others and have a slow dance with them. And while it wasn't as good as junior prom, it was still a whole lot of fun.
Hi, we're here in South Plymouth at the Russell Mill Pond Conservation Area. gorgeous day for a hike, of course, keeping in mind as we hike along the trail, social distancing.
The city of Quincy celebrated its 69th Flag Day with the rising of the flag over the Marymount Parkway. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, normal festivities couldn't go on. However, Mayor Koch encouraged citizens to participate by decorating their cars in a unique drive-by celebration. The city of Quincy celebrated the 4th of July with the rising of the flag and a reading of the Declaration of Independence.
Today I'd like to read the wording of that declaration in the words that they created 244 years ago today. Many of these words are of very lofty nature because of the elocution which was prized at that time. And many of the words may contain items which today we would like to debate. But it's nevertheless important for us to hear these words. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bonds which have connected them to another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect for the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to this separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former system.
Lieutenant Dan Minton of the Quincy Police Department recently retired after 40 years on the force. He served in Quincy for 36 years and was also a frequent contributor to the Quincy Sun and to QATV. He was celebrated with applause as he left the Quincy Police Department on his last day.
The thief may or may not look at this and say, do I want to take this bag or not? But if he elects to take this bag, he's going to reach up and grab it. And what's your natural response to do as it goes? You're going to, as it goes, you're going to hold on to that bag. And that's instinctual. You're going to end up with that bag, you're following that bag, and where's it going to take you? It's going to take you right down in the cement.
Road rage, it's something that you hear a lot about nowadays. And I suppose it's because there are a lot of people out on the roads.
Well, that's a big factor. You look at the roads, how they were built. You even look at Quincy, most of these roads were built for the 1950s, and for the volume of traffic coming through, whether it be rush hour, the expressways jammed up, people use Quincy as the bypass. They're going down to the suburbs, there's a lot of condo units and people living down there, so those are peak hours and those are the times we get road rage.
With the pandemic that we are experiencing now, unfortunately, that has opened up even more scams.
And unfortunately, these scammers, they're always looking for a new way to attack good people, try to get their money, whether it be through Social Security or other agencies. So when this virus came around and they looked at this, they said, you know, we can impersonate Social Security or federal agencies, and we can use a new angle based upon people's fear.
I'd like to invite you to our Safety and Health Fair on Sunday, September 28th at Pageant Field from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This year, we will be part of Quincy Medical Center's Cancer Walk, so join us in this great cause. Where the walk ends at Pageant Field, various law enforcement and health agencies will provide interactive events and educational tables to browse. To help make this Halloween safe, here are some safety tips. Costumes should not be cumbersome or too long. A mask should not limit your vision. Make the eye holes bigger if needed. Wear costumes with reflective markings in bright colors. Carry a flashlight, a watch, and a cell phone. Adults should accompany children under age 12 as a trick-or-treat. Hello, my name is Lieutenant Dan Minton of the Quincy Police Crime Prevention Unit. As part of our ongoing efforts to keep Quincy a safe and wonderful city to live in, we will provide weekly hotspots showing where and when crimes occurred. If you have any information about a past crime, please call the Detective Bureau at 617-745-5764, or if it is a drug-related matter, the drug hotline at 617-328-4527. Another method is to contact the Quincy Police online. Go to our link to provide information on any suspicious activity or crime. Any information can remain anonymous. As always, in an emergency, call 911 for immediate assistance. Remember, citizens working with their police department make for the safest cities.
Friday, September 21st.
Out of his mind.
"2020 has been a particularly difficult year for all of us, including for seniors graduating from high school. But the seniors graduating from Quincy High School and North Quincy High School decided to make the most out of a challenging situation. Athletes from both schools held end-of-year matches, and the seniors threw a drive-by graduation celebration.
We are here with MVP Mike Levine, 2 doubles his last 2 at-bats, scored a couple big runs. As your last game as a Red Raider, as a senior, tell us what this means to you tonight.
It means a lot because the rivalry wasn't there again for baseball, but after this, we all decided to come back. I had my old freshman team come back and help us because we only had 2 seniors this year, and it just means the world. It feels fun.
Three and two. Tracy is safe.
That's all for this edition of Quincy in Focus. On our next episode, we'll unveil the new Mr. Yaku, North Quincy High School's reinvented mascot. And we'll also highlight some of our members right here at QATV. If you'd like more information about Quincy Access Television, you can visit us at qatv.org or call us at 617-376-1440. My name's Mandy Flaherty, and thank you for watching this edition of Quincy in Focus.
Thank you.